Am I the a-hole for telling a parent that it's my student's own fault for being mistreated? I, female 27, am a preschool teacher. I have a student, Connor. If someone sits 3 inches from where they're supposed to sit, Connor 6 runs to us to report. Someone spills a drop of milk on the table, report. Someone happens to brush past him, he says he just pushed and threw me to the ground. Someone almost ran into him on a bike, says they rode over his toes on purpose, and he is in terrible pain. Someone is painting next to him and picks up a pen, cue crying, and she took a pen I was thinking of using soon. If someone is playing with a toy he wants, he will throw a tantrum until they get fed up and give it to him. All this has led to others taking a distance from him. They have even stopped playing with him outside of school. We've tried to get him to be included during school hours and have had multiple talks with him, but to no avail. Kids tell us that they feel like they have to walk on eggshells around him, and it's tiring. I'm paraphrasing here. We have had countless meetings with parents present as well, who dismiss our concerns. He has been evaluated and doesn't have any diagnoses, disabilities, or anything. The main issue arose when Sarah had a birthday party and everyone in the class was invited but Connor. He was understandably upset and crying. As we could predict, the mom was there the next day, fuming. She told us we had to force Sarah to invite his son by any means possible. When we said we have no control over what happens after school and that no, we cannot call a meeting with all parents and tell them they have to make their kids spend time with him as she wants us to, she was furious. She even tried to approach Sarah when she got sight of her, but we blocked her and said she is not allowed to talk to her. Poor thing was really scared. The day after, Sarah's mom, who is a wonderful woman, told us that Connor's mom had called and shouted at her for not inviting him. She didn't know if she should just invite him, but Sarah and a few of her friends had specifically asked for him not to be there. I told her that we would support and respect her wishes, whatever she chooses to do. Well, the party was last night. Connor wasn't invited. The mom shows up the next day and we went away to talk. Well, I talked, she shouted. I was pretty fed up and was wondering if I should call security. She kept screaming and blaming everything and everyone, but when she called us useless, incompetent teachers who do nothing, while her completely innocent kid was being emotionally abused, I had enough. Told her that he isn't completely innocent though, as we had had many talks and he was excluded because of his own behavior towards others, and based on what we've seen and heard, it's pretty understandable. Well, she went from shouting to shrieking and told me I was going to lose my job. I decided to call security after all. I don't know what's gonna happen. Too long didn't read. I want to know, did I go too far by saying it's his own fault for not being invited? Now let's read some comments. You've had meetings with the parents. It goes nowhere. You've been yelled at by his mom dozens of times. It goes nowhere. You've tried to work with the kiddo and with the parents. It goes nowhere. It's really sad, and this isn't on the kiddo. This is on the parents who are teaching this kiddo how to be a human. They are teaching him to be a terrible one, not the a-hole in this very limited case. Not the a-hole. So this story hit me hard because I was the kid who would be left out at parties, who had incredibly huge emotions that I couldn't control, and yes, who alienated themselves from other kids with their she behavior. If anything, the teachers reaching out and trying to resolve the situation. This could easily be the parents emotionally neglecting the child at home, so they act out with manipulation for attention is going above and beyond what was done in my time. I feel so bad for this kid. I hope they figure it out soon before they go on an angry self-destructive path. Honestly, we have had to ban parents from the premise because of this behavior. A teacher has a restraining order against one. You need to protect yourself from this abuse. Admin/management should be stepping in now. Get them involved. Connor's behavior is very normal for his age. His parents are handling it poorly, and it really sucks that OP hasn't yet found the right strategy to reach through to him. I'm a preschool teacher. I work with this age group. Connor's parents are enabling him in the worst way, which is detrimental to his development, but I don't think they taught him this behavior, only that they are reinforcing it. And it is pretty obvious where he got that behavior. Yeah, his parents are most likely rewarding this kind of behavior at home. And I guess that's because he's only child, so both parents and the kid don't have any contrast. It's sad, but teacher literally cannot do anything else but to call child protective services at the point they are, at least where I live. Seriously, overstepping their boundaries is much more likely to get them fired than anything parents like these could do. Best thing the school can do is to stay firm and show that his behavior will never be rewarded in outside world. The parents aren't gonna make him change. Talking isn't gonna make him change, so only option is to let him live with the consequences and hope that he's smart enough to draw the connections. Giving in would be the worst thing that can happen, and it would only make his behavior worse. That would be the cruelest thing that teachers could do. This, so much. There's only so much a teacher can do if the parents aren't properly helping a child to socialize. I'd give a pass if there was an indication or suspicion of autism or something like that, but from your account he's just a kid whose parents haven't taught proper socialization rules to. Yup, it's not Connor's fault. It's his parents' fault for not teaching him how to get along with others. While a significant part of schooling is for kids to learn how to behave in a group setting and to a degree conform, if the parents don't provide a baseline and reinforce it at home, the kids will struggle. Not the a-hole, but some sort of intervention is required, or Connor is going to turn into a school shooter due to feeling excluded, while his parents persist in telling him that he's entitled to friends and inclusion. Okay, so a few things. If the child is pre-K, he is by definition too young to be diagnosed with most neurocognitive behavioral disorder. I was sore to this kid. I agree when other posters say the parents are very much to blame, but there's possibly some underlying social disability that is too early to diagnose, ADHD, etc. Sounds like the parents, or at least mom, is the "my child is perfect and can do no wrong" type, because any perceived failing of their child is seen as a reflection on them. My mom never had such illusions, thankfully. I would wait for things to calm down a bit and bring both parents of the boy in and make sure you engage with both of them. Mom may be a lost cause, but worth a shot. If you have access to a childhood developmental specialist, they would be a great resource. Document. Ask other parents, document. Have helpers document. If there is any way you can get permission to videotape, say, a puppet show and accidentally get his behavior on camera, she might have a clue. Then again, you teach entitled idiots, the mom. Also, write up each and every little behavior issue. 3 strikes you're out. Yes to all of this. I've dealt with parents who ignore emails about their child's behavior, calls about their child's behavior, and reports about their child's behavior, all ignored. Then when the kid is asked to leave the class or be reprimanded, the mom loses her shit. I don't understand parents like this. Yeah, interventions aren't going anywhere because the parents are verbally abusive. If they feel comfortable screaming at teachers, I can imagine how frequently their child is being screamed at. I think the child tattling comes from a history of being blamed and yelled at for simple mistakes or whatever's annoying the parents. It seems like the kid is entirely focused on how the teachers view him, and the child probably thinks the way to appease the teachers and be seen as good is to help point out mistakes or bad behavior in other children, since those are things that would make his own parents furious. It's deflection to ingratiate himself with the adults in the situation, so that they won't treat him as a child, since in his experience, children are yelled at. It's pretty common for abused and neglected children to be hypervigilant towards adults and their emotions/responses instead of being able to interact with their peers and environment in a healthy way. Not the a-hole. Kids often learn from their parents, so it really sounds like you're dealing with 2 versions of the same issue at that point of shrieking and no longer listening. High definition Wold told her about herself and her kid. I don't blame you at all. I know, right? After every and then the mother came storming in screaming at me. I was sitting here like Hermione. Ooh, me. I know where that kid learned bad social skills. This woman never grew up. She's throwing tantrums like a toddler because she can't deal with things not going her way, and she's teaching that horrible behavior to her kid. He is the reflection of what his parents teach and show him at home. Op is not the a-hole here at all. If anything, she's been a victim. This kid sounds very similar to one of my neighbor's kids. He is always running and tattling on the other kids for every stupid reason, and if they are using the playground equipment and it's not his turn, he'll run to his house and then come back and say smugly dad says you have to let me on the swings now, and then he'll refuse to get off after a reasonable amount of time and let others play. This has resulted in the other kids not wanting to play or hang around him. He's even run to his dad to tattle that the other kids would not play with him, and again he came back and whined, dad says you have to play with me. Of course they still refused because they're sick of his nonsense. This dad is not the father of all the kids. If not, I would have loved to be one of the kids and telling him to F off. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more videos. Also like the video if you enjoy it.